Some surprising news yesterday when it was revealed that Mandy Rose has been traded from Friday Night SmackDown to Monday Night Raw. The announcement was made by The Miz on Talking Smack and was since confirmed by WWE on WWE.com. They released the following statement that said, quote, "Mandy Rose is on the move as the Golden Goddess has been traded to Raw." The Miz crashed the set of WWE Talking Smack to break the news of Mandy Rose's trade to Raw. The move was the latest tactic in The Miz and John Morrison's ongoing quest to part Otis with his Money in the Bank contract. Based on Mandy's succinct reaction on social media, this news surprised her just as it did the WWE Universe. What will the move mean for Mandy and what effect will it have on her relationship with Otis? Now, Mandy Rose basically, when the news came out on social media, sold that she had no idea this was coming. She said, what? Had the surprise emojis, all of that stuff. So it was, again, shocking, I think, to say the least. I don't think anyone kind of saw this coming for several reasons, which I'll touch on in a second. Now, The Miz, when he made the announcement on Talking Smack, he framed it as he was doing Otis a favor and that Mandy Rose was a distraction towards him becoming the WWE Universal Champion. And of course, as we've seen the last few weeks on Friday Night SmackDown, the story is that The Miz and John Morrison have been trying to steal the briefcase away from Otis on multiple occasions. Every time they've done so, the briefcase that they've stolen doesn't contain the Money in the Bank contract. So a couple of weeks ago, John Morrison stole the Money in the Bank briefcase. It was actually Otis's lunchbox, and Otis carried the Money in the Bank contract in his lunchbox. They tried to carry the lunchbox, or steal the lunchbox last week, or this week rather, and then Otis revealed that it wasn't in the lunchbox, and every time it's instead The Miz and Morrison have a sandwich, or this week it was an eaten rotten apple core. I mean, this is what you want on SmackDown, right? This is what Fox wanted, that sports-centric presentation, right? Every time we do these storylines, I just think back to that sports-centric presentation. In the build-up to SmackDown's debut on Fox, I must have heard the phrase sports-centric presentation about 1 billion times. Maybe as many times as many dollars are involved in that Fox contract with SmackDown, because every time SmackDown is going to be a sports-centric presentation. Fox wants SmackDown to be very sports-centric, to fit in with their NFL and their previous relationship with the UFC, and instead we have one of the first major storylines on SmackDown was rubbing dog food on people and dressing up as dogs. Another storyline right now is them stealing the Money in the Bank briefcase, but instead it has sandwiches, rotten bits of fruit, lunch boxes, sports-centric presentation on Friday night, ladies and gentlemen. So, as I mentioned, the storyline here is that The Miz and John Morrison have been trying to steal the briefcase away from Otis, get the contract for themselves, try and find legal loopholes in it, and then either one of them becomes the Universal Champion, right? That's the storyline they're going with. Now, as was noted earlier on in the video, Mandy Rose was very shocked by this shock trade from SmackDown to Raw. She put a statement on her official Twitter account that said, quote, "You dirty bastard." Yes, Mandy Rose is getting foul language here. But she says that, and then she says 3 weeks. It took 3 weeks to find out why I wasn't on SmackDown, and of course, it's because of you, Mike. I had a career moment at SummerSlam to not be on SmackDown, and you just drop it on Talking Smack like it's nothing? You affect my career and my time so you could try and stop Otis from succeeding. This is how you use your pull? Wow. If I'm going to Raw, that's great. I'll do bigger and better things on Mondays than I've ever done on Fridays. Oh, and if you think you're going to split Otis and I up, think again, Miz. There are 7 days in a week, and me and Mr. Money in the Bank are as tight as ever, end quote. Now, of course, what Mandy Rose is referring to there is the fact that she defeated her longtime best friend / rival Sonya Deville in a no disqualification loser leaves WWE match at last month's SummerSlam pay-per-view. But since then, Mandy Rose has been pretty much non-existent on SmackDown TV. Now, I don't know if this is all by design. Of course, Mandy Rose, unfortunately, was part of the horrible incident that involved Sonya Deville and the home invasion and the attempted kidnapping. And I believe, as of right now, that guy's still behind bars, as he should be. He shouldn't be let out again. So I don't know if Mandy Rose not being on TV has been a part of that. Obviously, she's got to give her account of what happened, and she is going to be part of that trial without a doubt. Sonya Deville, the day of SmackDown, the SmackDown prior to SummerSlam, she was in a bail hearing to ensure that this guy didn't get let out for bail. So it's a very difficult time for them both. And the reason Sonya Deville isn't on WWE TV right now, the reason why that was changed to a loser leave WWE match is because Sonya Deville needs some time off to prepare herself for this trial. It was going to be obviously a loser gets their head shaved, a hair versus hair match. That changed because Sonya Deville's lawyer basically said to her, if this is a serious trial, if you want to make sure this guy doesn't get let out again, you can't show up to court with a bald head. So look, life comes first. So these things happen, these things change. But since then, you would have thought that they would have parlayed this into Mandy Rose being on TV, but it hasn't happened. Support for Wrestle News 365 is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Now, Manscaped, for all of my UK fans out there, Manscaped just launched in the UK. Over here in the United Kingdom, we have gone for years and years and years without using the right tools for the job. But now you can be one of the first men in England to experience their life-changing product. But it's not just limited to all of the great fans over here in the UK. This offer goes worldwide, so all of my friends over in America and around the world that are listening to this offer still does apply for you. You can still use our code. But I've got to tell you a quick story first. Now, there have been so many times, right? I'm a guy. You gotta groom down there, fellas, right? That's the most important thing. You gotta keep yourself trimmed. You gotta keep yourself proper. And a lot of the time, I've been guilty of this, of using the wrong tools for the job. I've had incidences, I'm not afraid to say it, where things have been nicked, snagged, or in fact cut down there because I wasn't being careful enough and using the right equipment. Now that just shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen. You don't want to be worrying about cutting yourself down there. Do you know how painful that is? I can tell you, it hurts quite a lot. And I wish and hope to God it never happens to me again, and it won't happen to me ever again because I'm using Manscaped products. That's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team has perfected the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created. Big statement, but it's absolutely true. They have just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 in the UK. It's also available around the world as well. Their third generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. So those cuts and snags that I was telling you about before are a thing of the past. And let me tell you, when I tell you this is premium, I mean premium. The battery will last up to 90 minutes so you can get a longer, perfect shave. And not only that, you don't want to be cutting yourself and trimming yourself all over the bathroom, getting hair all over the place. That's just disgusting. The lawnmower has a waterproof technology that allows you to groom in the shower, so no more mess. And one of the coolest features, one of my favorite features about the lawnmower is the LED light which illuminates grooming areas for a closer and more precise trimming experience. So you can shave longer, you can shave more precisely, and you can shave in the shower. What more did I need to tell you? They've also upgraded to a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology, and let's not forget about the charging stand. You can show off your mower loud and proud because this intelligently designed stand is a convenient charging dock powered by USB. So, if you are listening to me speak right now, I want you to experience it firsthand for yourself. Let's get that bush to tush clean, and you can get 20% off and free shipping. Yeah, you heard me right there. 20% off and free shipping. All you have to do is use the code 365wrestle at manscaped.com. Make your testes their besties. That's 20% off and free shipping. Not only are you getting 20% off, you're getting free shipping as well with the code 365wrestle at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the code 365wrestle. Your balls will thank you. So, this whole moving Mandy Rose to Raw, as I mentioned, it did surprise me. I think it surprised everyone. Everyone sort of went, what? What? It was clever of them to do it on Talking Smack, of course. Talking Smack, they're trying to drive viewers to watch Talking Smack, because if you miss it, you could miss something important, like Mandy Rose being drafted to Monday Night Raw, or traded to Monday Night Raw. So that's smart on their part. I don't care, you know, if it does have Xavier Woods, if it does have Kayla Braxton, if it does have big news like this. Talking Smack will never be the Talking Smack that was Daniel Bryan and Renee Young. It just never will. It will never be the same. But they're doing their best to try and drive eyeballs and viewers to that program every Saturday. Most importantly, though, I suppose it continues the storyline between Otis and The Miz and John Morrison. And I think at this point, the way that this storyline has been going on SmackDown with Morrison and Miz attempting to steal the briefcase numerous times, they've spoken about trying to get lawyers to find legal loopholes in this contract. Surely this is leading to a match for the contract. I think it has to be. And I think the end goal here to this feud kind of feels like they're going to get the contract or the briefcase on either The Miz or John Morrison. And I think that's probably justified at this point. To me, and I was a big advocate of Otis, and at one point I was a big Otis fan. But right now, in September of 2020, Otis can't be the Universal Champion. He can't. He can't. There was a period of time before WrestleMania, during WrestleMania time, at the time of the Money in the Bank, where the argument could be made that Otis could be Universal Champion, and he was over with the crowd when the crowd was still there, and his storyline with Mandy Rose and Dolph Ziggler and Sonya Deville, it was really good. And the moment at WrestleMania where he finally got the girl, and it was a bit of a Shrek and Fiona storyline, no offense Otis, but that was what they were going for. That worked. That did work, and it was very good. But at this point, several months removed, the shine is worn off. The shine is worn off, and I think universally 99% of the WWE universe and fans on social media and whoever you asked would say that Otis can't be Universal Champion at this point. Maybe even Otis himself. I doubt that. And I don't think it's completely his fault. I'm far from that. I don't think it's his fault. I don't think he's been booked right during this run with the briefcase. To be honest, since he won the briefcase, he's had more time off of TV than on it. He hasn't really been involved in anything super credible. The first few weeks that he did have the briefcase by his side, they kind of teased him cashing in on Braun Strowman. That's as far as it's gone, really. And since then, he disappeared. He was off at poolside with Mandy Rose, and that was about it, because I don't think they knew what to do with him at this point. I think the WWE creative team and the WWE officials had hoped that the briefcase would elevate Otis to the next level, and it hasn't. If anything, it's been the albatross around his neck. It's kind of dragged him down a bit, because people are now questioning, was this the right call? Can Otis really be Universal Champion? And at the time, like I said, I do think it was the right call. I do think WWE had the right intentions. They were trying to elevate Otis. He was over with the audience. The storyline with Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville and Dolph Ziggler was great. The WrestleMania moment was just that, a WrestleMania moment, and it was brilliantly written and brilliantly executed. And I just wished, like anything with that WrestleMania, it could have happened in front of some fans in a stadium, because it deserved that. But time has gone on, and it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. And I think Otis maybe having the briefcase now, looking back on it in hindsight, which is a lovely thing, of course, maybe was a bad idea. And I think John Morrison and The Miz having the contract going forward would be good. There is an obvious argument that The Miz or John Morrison could be Universal Champion. The Miz, of course, is a former WWE champion, one of the most underrated guys on the roster. Everything he's given, he makes work. He's a company guy. He's got a million outside projects. The Miz and Mrs., Cannonball, whatever they throw at The Miz, it works for him. So, of course, he could be the Universal Champion. And if anything, you look back on his WWE Championship run back in 2011, maybe similar to Otis, maybe that wasn't the right time for him. But I still think even then he did a good job, and he was over at the time. John Morrison, for the longest time, people have said he could have been a Universal Champion. His character's got a little bit too comedic for me in recent weeks, but John Morrison, you can turn serious and you can have him be anything. You can have him be a cocky heel and he can be Universal Champion. You can have him be an underdog babyface and be Universal Champion. The issue always with John Morrison has been his promos, his talking. He's very wooden on the mic. But I will say, over the last couple of years, and this is when he was with Impact too, and with Lucha Underground, and now with WWE, I think his promos have improved considerably. He's still phenomenal in the ring. He still is in unbelievable shape. Why not? He could be Universal Champion. But either way, regardless of if John Morrison or The Miz has the contract, or if Otis has the contract, I think we're looking at a scenario whereby I think Otis may cash in and I think he loses. And even if The Miz or John Morrison has the briefcase, I think they cash in and I think they lose too. Because you have to look, of course, who is the Universal Champion at this time? It's Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns isn't dropping the title to anyone anytime soon. That includes The Fiend, that includes Braun Strowman, that includes even Oldberg when he comes back. Roman Reigns ain't dropping the title anytime soon. At the very, very least, Roman Reigns is holding that Universal Championship until WrestleMania next year. Now, of course, we still have until Money in the Bank. The contract is valid for 12 months, and we've seen previous winners of the title wait until after WrestleMania, right? Carmella did it a couple of years ago. But if you look at those three guys, Otis, John Morrison, and The Miz, at this point in time, and I know things can change, in WWE, things change every 5 seconds, let alone in several months' time, I just can't see anyone in that picture of Otis, John Morrison, or The Miz winning the Universal Championship, especially Otis, and he's the guy that currently holds the briefcase right now. So I do think to give WWE some credit here, I do think it's an interesting way of continuing this storyline with The Miz, John Morrison, and Otis. It's a creative and unique way of getting under Otis's skin and trying to change this storyline from something that isn't overly comedic to something that is serious. We're talking about a Universal Championship opportunity here. The Universal Championship, along with the WWE Championship, is the highest achievement that everyone should be aspiring to on the male side of things in WWE. It's a serious subject. So to have this washed down with lunchboxes, sandwiches, rotten bits of fruit, it kind of diminishes the opportunity at hand here. This is serious. Whoever usually wins the Money in the Bank, you're like, okay, this is going to be the next big guy. So this kind of changes the storyline into something a bit more serious. Otis being separated from Mandy Rose makes this storyline more serious. And also you have to look at the verbiage used here during all of this. They said that Mandy Rose has been traded to Monday Night Raw. So namely, the whole point of a trade is that you can't have a trade if nobody goes in the opposite direction, right? So who did she get traded for? Now, I know in fairness, we've seen trades in the past for future considerations, but usually they get leveled out pretty quickly. So maybe that's the case here. Maybe we're going to see someone from Raw go to SmackDown. But the reason I think most people were surprised by this trade of Mandy Rose to Raw not only was because of the Otis consideration, but also we know a draft is coming soon. It's been reported a million times, not by WWE, but by the likes of Triple H and Fightful and Wrestling Inc. and Sportskeeda and PW Insider, you name it, it's been reported that a WWE draft is imminent. We know that's coming soon. If anything, it's overdue. It was meant to happen in April, then June, July, August, September. Some people are suggesting October now because that would be a year removed from the previous WWE draft. So we know that's coming. So why on earth would you do a trade right before the WWE draft? The only scenario I can think with that, if we're still getting the draft, is that we're looking at a situation whereby Mandy is traded to Raw, then the whole point is the separation between Mandy and Otis, and that furthers the Otis, Miz, and Morrison storyline, and they try and play up like, oh, we're on different shows, but we're still going to try and keep in touch, that kind of deal. And then you have the moment during the draft whereby Mandy Rose and Otis are reunited, whereby they both end up on Raw or SmackDown, and then you have another moment like that. I could maybe see something like that. That would be interesting to me. It would require a bit of foresight by WWE, which they're not normally very good at, but maybe that's the scenario here too. But I think from a logistics point of view as well, with Mandy Rose going to Raw, I think it's very good for Monday Night Raw. At this point in the women's division on Monday nights, Asuka needs challenges for the title. They are very, very thin on the ground when it comes to credible challenges. Look, the person who was challenging Asuka for the last few months on Monday Night Raw was a SmackDown superstar in Sasha Banks. And you look at the people that are on the Raw roster in the women's division right now, they're missing big stars. Becky Lynch is out. Charlotte Flair is out. Ronda Rousey is somewhere. All of them, they're Raw superstars. So they're missing big names. People like Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, they're involved in the tag team division right now. So Asuka is kind of spinning in the wind here. She doesn't have many people to defend against. So maybe we could see Asuka versus Mandy Rose happen at Clash of Champions. Now, there were rumors previously because this question was asked in lots of different reports because nobody knew where it was really going. Who's Asuka facing at Clash of Champions? Of course, the title's got to be on the line, so who's she going to be facing? And a lot of reports were maybe it's going to be Asuka versus Natalya, which, again, no offense to Natalya, doesn't do anything for me at this point. And I don't mean to be one of those people that is, overly critical on Natalya. I do think her acting and promos is incredibly wooden, but I think she's of great use on the roster because she's a veteran. She's been in WWE for, I think it's like 12 years, 13 years at this point. She can go in the ring still. She's very useful to have. I just don't think she should be in a prominent position where she's challenging Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship at Clash of Champions. Asuka this Monday on In Your Face Raw. That's what it is, Raw, but in your face. That's how you counter NFL, by the way, returning on Monday nights. It's In Your Face Raw. But a good thing about In Your Face Raw is that Asuka is going to be facing Mickie James on Monday, which should be a great match. I enjoyed their match from NXT TakeOver Toronto in 2016. I think it'll be the same. That would be a match that I'd want to see at Clash of Champions. So potentially we could have a bit of a screwy finish on Monday, have Asuka versus Mickie James at Clash of Champions. I'd be fine for that. But I think also we could be looking at a situation that, giving Mandy Rose is now on Monday Night Raw, she ultimately goes to the top of the pile, really. She's one of the more credible names on that roster. So potentially we could be seeing Asuka versus Mandy Rose, and I think that would be an interesting match because we haven't seen it in a while. Different is good, and that's what we need on Monday Night Raw, especially on Raw where so many of the matches at this point have been done to death. They've been having the same matchups and rivalry since like March this year, so a different feud, a different match, I'm all for. So I'm not totally against this Mandy Rose trade to Raw. I think there are reasons they've done it, namely the storyline with Otis and Miz and Morrison, maybe a future reunite with Otis and Mandy after the draft, and also to get some names into that women's division on Raw. So logistically, I think it makes a lot of sense, but it's an interesting situation, of course. But as always, this is just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on Mandy Rose being traded to Monday Night Raw? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be sure to respond to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys on this channel. If you haven't already, please do smash a like on the like button as well. Really just help us out here on YouTube. Get up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously, and helps us battle that old algorithm. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestle News 365. We are so close to 800 subscribers right now. I will do a live check as to the subscribers that we have at the time of recording. We're on 798, 2 subscribers away from 800 subscribers. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe. You could be the magic 800 subscriber on that long road to 1,000. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe, bottom right hand corner, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today, and I'll speak for you again very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.